I find it interesting how many watch brands get caught in one category. They might offer watches beyond that category, but they become known for that one category. And if they try to offer something outside of that main category, it often isn't that well received. If you think about Omega, they predominantly offer sports watches. Their focus is sports watches. They do offer a horology, they offer dress watches, but they're renowned for their sports watches. The same for Tudor. And then you have on the other side, JLC. Their focus is predominantly dress watches and horology, but they also have a sports watch element. But they aren't known for that sports watch. Or they might be known for it. For example, the Polaris, absolutely amazing watch, gorgeous watch, but it's just not popular. The same could be said for Rolex and their 1908 collection. Again, it's just not popular. You then also have Omega and their DeVille range. Nothing wrong with it. It's just not popular when compared to their sports stuff. Patek is one of the brands that I guess you could say they have covered all bases and done so pretty successfully. They've got the dress watches covered, they've got horology, and then they also have their sports range, although you could class it as, is it a true sports watch? But it is within the category of sports. Seiko has probably one of the better setups. They have their Seiko range, which is focused on sports. Again, they also have dress stuff, but they focus on sports watches. And then you have Grand Seiko, which is the higher end stuff, and they focus predominantly on dress watches. Again, yes, they do have sports watches, but you could quite clearly see a trend between both of those categories. Christopher Ward, on the other hand, I think is a really interesting case study because they predominantly offer affordable dive watches, affordable sports watches around the £1,000 marker. But then they also have an arm that offers affordable horology, or maybe avant-garde horology would be a more fitting name. The two categories feel really quite odd, and I don't feel like they blend together. Because if you think about the £1,000 divers that they offer, they're a legitimate alternative, affordable alternative to something like an Omega or something like a Tudor. Whereas the avant-garde horology element to Christopher Ward is kind of like an affordable offering of Czapek or Arm & Strom or Grubel Forsey. You wouldn't really see Arm & Strom, Grubel Forsey, Rolex and Tudor packaged as one thing. There's not much that kind of holds them all together. Yet Christopher Ward is able to do it and people accept it. So I find that quite interesting. When Christopher Ward launches a dive watch, people talk about it. Watch press talks about it, they get on board, the community gets on board with it. It's kind of the done thing. But also when they launch something like this, their avant-garde horology, again, watch press gets on board with it. The watch community gets on board with it. I know people are going to say, yes, but the watch press are paid to talk about it. They aren't. Christopher Ward is one of the brands that just doesn't pay. They don't need to. And the other side of that is the watch community aren't paid to talk about a watch. The watch community aren't paid to get excited about a watch. You guys have your own minds, your own opinions, yet you still get on board with this stuff. And this is such a big departure from a rotating bezel dive watch. As a business case, it doesn't make sense, but it works. This is Christopher Ward's latest avant-garde horology watch. This is the C12 Loco. According to Christopher Ward, this is their most ambitious, their most expensive and most technical watch yet. And you can kind of see why. Looking at the watch, first impressions, you wouldn't have thought this was a Christopher Ward and you wouldn't have thought this cost £3,995. That price tag and this design and this finishing, it doesn't make sense. There's two big areas to this watch that we need to talk about. One is the design and one is the movement. I know you could say that about every single bloody watch, but here I kind of feel like there's big things to talk about. This isn't just a dial change. This isn't just a color change. This isn't just a slightly upgraded movement. This is a whole lot more going on. This is a new watch. It's based on the Christopher Ward 12 design, but the case has been refined. It's been updated along with the bracelet. Now, although this is a big departure from Christopher Ward's typical offering of sports watches, you can see where this has come from. It's as if the 12 and the Bel Canto had a good night together and they ended up with this. And because of that, it kind of makes sense. The movement inside this is Christopher Ward's second in-house movement. It's called the CW003. It's got 2 barrels inside, and that gives it a massive 6-day power reserve, 144 hours of power reserve. As you can see, we have a front-mounted balance. This is Christopher Ward's custom-made free-sprung balance wheel. Free-sprung balance wheels are more complex to make. They're also more complex to regulate. The little screws around the outside of the wheel can be adjusted to either increase or decrease the mass for that section of the wheel. The result is to make it spin in a more stable fashion, and ultimately, it is a more accurate movement. Finishing is typically the most expensive part of a watch because it just takes time and expertise, and this movement does have hand finishing on the front and the back. Christopher Ward says the bridges alone take 5 hours to polish. As you can imagine, this is a £4,000 or sub £4,000 watch, and so it doesn't have the finishing that you would see on a Patek or a Czapek, but that's why it doesn't cost £40,000. It's sub £4,000. So you will see imperfections if you look close enough. If you look out for imperfections, you will find them. But I kind of feel like at this price range, you should just enjoy it. This isn't a watch priced for you to nitpick. This is a watch priced for you to enjoy. Let's talk about the rest of the specs. The case and bracelet, they are stainless steel, and the case is 41mm wide. It's 13.7mm thick. Lug to lug is 47.5mm, and it has 30 meters of water resistance. There are quite a few dial options, and you can also choose to have the watch on a rubber strap, but I feel like it's really at home on the bracelet. The bracelet itself, although it's an integrated bracelet with a butterfly clasp, typically these things don't have bracelet extension systems. There's so many watches much more expensive than this that don't have on-the-fly bracelet extensions. This does, and it's pretty clever and quite tricky to get back in. Very smart. The movement, as I mentioned, is Christopher Ward's in-house movement. This is a CW003. It's a manual wind movement with the 144 hours of power reserve. It's got 29 joules, it beats at 28,800 vibrations per hour, and it's accurate from 0 seconds to plus 7 seconds a day. With the Bel Canto, there's kind of like this air of playfulness about it, and that could just be the fact that it looks like a smiley watch because it's got this massive spring around the lower side of the dial. It could also be because it was such an epic departure from Christopher Ward's normal offering. It kind of felt a bit playful because they're kind of saying, hey, look what we did. We made this crazy watch. And it is crazy, and it is impressive, and it was an eye-opener as to what Christopher Ward are capable of doing. The 12 was kind of similar, a more serious watch, a more serious design of watch. But again, it was such a big departure from their norm that it felt like they were perhaps testing the waters. Should we do this thing? This, however, this just feels really serious. This kind of feels like Christopher Ward saying, yeah guys, we're not f***ing around. We're doing this watchmaking thing. The design is serious. The finishing is serious. I really like it. It's not my cup of tea. It doesn't fit within my style. It doesn't fit within the watches that I buy. But as an offering, they aren't messing about. Lots of brands try to do stuff like this, but it's not always executed all that well. Now, Christopher Ward does have a bit of a secret weapon. It's not much of a secret anymore. The guy who designed Czapek's Antarctique, absolutely stunning watch, gorgeous watch. He's the same guy that designed the 12 and designed this. Perhaps more of a cheat code than a secret weapon. There's so many clever things going on within the dial of this watch. You've got so many contrasting elements. I think that's what I'm trying to say. You've got dark, you've got light, you've got matte finishing, you've got high polish finishing, you've got brushed finishing. You've then got very clever use of space. They've got space nicely framing, busyness. And then you've of course got lines contrasting with circles. I know this sounds like a sales pitch. I assure you it isn't. I get no money from Christopher Ward for making these videos. Making these videos costs me money. And if you like these videos and you can support what we do, we've got t-shirts coming out very soon. Our straps, our single piece nylon straps that we sell over at barkandjack.com. Alas, you can't fit a single piece nylon strap on this watch. Now, coming back to the point I was making at the start around brands getting stuck in a category and why does Christopher Ward get to branch out of that hero category and do something so drastically different and it's accepted by the community. I kind of feel like it's down to the fact that there isn't really a genuine alternative to horology. If you think about brands, if you're a fan of the stuff that Grubel Forsey do or Czapek or Arm & Strong, and you don't have the cash, it's not like I'll just save up. If you're in that realm, then you're in that realm. Not many people have that level of money to spend on a watch. Conversely, there aren't that many genuine offerings of that style of watch, of that avant-garde, futuristic, modern style of watchmaking. That's what this is. Yes, the finishing isn't anywhere near the level of a Greubel Forsey, but it's not being marketed like that. Yes, if you took the movement apart and you saw the bits that you wouldn't typically see, they won't be finished to the level of the parts that you can see on the front. But this is an in-house movement developed by Christopher Ward. This is a genuine design of case and bracelet by Christopher Ward. This isn't just an altered off-the-shelf movement. This is something that they've developed. And I think that's why it works. But now I want to hear your thoughts. This channel is just me sharing my thoughts, how I see something, and I want to get your input. I want to know what you think on two things. I want to know your thoughts on why you think watch brands get stuck in their offering. How can a brand like Christopher Ward offer something so different from their hero product, whereas a brand as powerful as Rolex, for example, can't get their 1908 to be as successful, or a brand with as much heritage as JLC can't get their Polaris range to be as accepted as their Reverso range, for example. I find it quite interesting. The second thing is, I want to know your thoughts on this watch. What do you guys think of the Christopher Ward Loco? The C12 Loco. I think it's pretty damn impressive. Drop a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button. If you like this style of video, then hit the subscribe button down there and that little bell icon so you get notifications when I drop a new video. If you want to check out our watch straps, watch accessories, sexy mugs, jump over to barkandjack.com and check out the stuff we have over there. And if you're on Instagram, give me a follow at barkandjack. See you guys soon. Take care.